Magic, white and black, the science of finite and infinite life. Harmony. Let no one enter here who is not well versed in mathematics and music. Pythagoras. To listen to the music of the spheres is a poetical expression, but it expresses a great truth, because the universe is filled with harmony, and a soul who is in full harmony with the soul of the universe may listen to that music and understand it. The world as well as man resemble musical instruments in which every string should be in perfect order so that no discordant notes may be sounded. We may look upon matter on the physical plane as a state of low vibration, and upon spirit as the highest vibration of life. And between the two poles are the intermediary principles constituting the grand octave called man. A more exact study of the laws of harmony will undoubtedly give us a deeper insight into the laws which govern the functions of the principles of which nature and man are composed. Woman is the image of man, representing man's beauty and will, while the male part of humanity is to represent reason and strength, but neither can continue to exist without the other, and neither a male nor a female being is perfect. Only that being is perfect in which the male and female elements are united. That which saves the male portions of mankind from becoming brutes is the remnants of the female principle, still left in Adam, when Eve was created out of one of his ribs. That which constitutes the true woman is the eternal divine female principle, the eternal virgin in her. That which brings woman near to the semi-animal male and which makes her discernible to him is the male elements contained in her human organization. A man without any female elements in him would be a devil. A woman without any male elements would be an angel, but could not live upon a gross material planet such as the earth. The moll-accord is the harmonious counterpart of the dur-accord. But it has been proved that the existence of a family of moll-accords, existing independently of dur-accords and running in parallel lines with the latter, is an impossibility. The most beautiful sound is not a single sound, but an accord of three. Such an accord is like a mental conception which, for the purpose of realizing its existence as a unity, has to pass through three phases of consciousness, viz. 1, that of being one with itself, 2, that of being different from itself, and 3, that of conceiving that these two states are only one. Nature is the product of a cause, and everything in nature is ruled by the law of cause and effect. There can be no arbitrary ruler in the universe, and even if there were such a ruler, his decisions would be the effects of the action of his mind, and the actions of his mind would be determined by pre-existing causes, and he would therefore be subject to law. A being that is not subject to law is an unimaginable monster that cannot exist, because all beings come into existence through the law of cause and effect, and nothing can be without having come into existence. Only the eternal law itself, which is no thing, self-existent and absolute. Here it might be objected that the law could not exist if there was not a cause of the law, in other words, a law giver. And such would be the case if we had to deal with arbitrary laws. But the eternal law of cause and effect requires no lawgiver, because it is eternal and therefore self-existent. Each being is subject to that law because each is a product of it. The law of cause and effect calls all beings into existence, but the law itself is not a being. And if man enters the state of nirvana, he ceases to be subject to the law, because as he is then one with the law, he is the law, and cannot be subject to any other law but himself, and has ceased to be a being. Man is a being and exists in the world, having come into existence according to the law of cause and effect. The form and quality of his body depend on the physical conditions under which he was born. The state of his soul depends on the astral influences that concentrated their power upon him in consequence of his affinity. His character depends on the causes created during his previous existence, and these causes constitute his karma, of which he himself is the creator. Man is himself a product of the law of cause and effect, and in all departments of nature the effects produced are always in exact proportion to the causes that produced them. If we knew the causes well, we could easily calculate their effects. Each thought, each word, each act creates a cause, which acts directly on the plane to which it belongs, creating their new causes which react again upon the other planes. A thought is a mental state that may be expressed in a word, and the word may be made effective by an act. An act is the expression, the word, of a thought. Every form in nature has a threefold constitution, every symbol a threefold meaning, every perfect act is a trinity. To perform an action, three factors are necessary: the actor, the act, and the object acted on. To constitute a complete act, three factors again are required: the motive, the will, and the performance. A motive or thought which finds no expression in an act will have no direct result on the physical plane, but it may cause great emotion in the sphere of mind, and these may again react on the physical plane. The best intention will produce no visible effect unless it is put into execution. But intentions produce certain mental states that may be productive of actions at some time in the future. The performance of an act will have an effect no matter whether it was premeditated or not, but an act without a motive will not directly affect the planes of thought. Such an act is the result of insanity and imposes no moral responsibility upon the performer, but it will nevertheless have its effects on the physical plane that may react upon the mind. From the causes created on the physical, astral, and spiritual planes, innumerable combinations of effects come into existence, creating new causes that are again followed by effects, and every force that is put into action on either plane continues to act until it is exhausted by transformations into other modes of action, when its vibrations will be changed to others and the previous effects will cease to exist. It is highly interesting to study the actions of the law of cause and effect on the various planes of existence. By the threefold action of that law as thought, will, and performance on the physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual planes, a great many varieties ensue which give rise to endless modifications and varieties, and again produce innumerable secondary causes, which again produce effects. For instance, a good act performed on the physical plane with an evil thought, or an evil act performed with a good motive, or a good act with a good motive, or an evil act with an evil thought, produces certain effects upon one plane, while the motive affects another plane, and they both react upon higher planes, and their results are produced which react again upon the lower planes, and at last the actions of the law of karma will become so complicated that it is impossible to follow it into its details. Nor is it necessary that we should do so, for we should not do good as a matter of speculation and for the purpose of acquiring good karma, but we should do good because we love good on account of its goodness. Man is not a being whose existence is separated from nature, but an integral part thereof. Heat and cold, sunshine and storms on the physical plane affect his body. The elemental forces of nature act upon his soul, and the influence of the universal spirit radiates to his center. Likewise, man reacts upon the whole. By his physical labor he changes the face of the earth, acting sometimes as a creator and at other times as a destroyer of forms. His emotions produce currents in the soul of the world that give rise to new causes in the invisible realm, which again react upon the physical plane. His imagination may create thought germs that may in the course of time find expression in physical forms. His passions may give rise to epidemic diseases. His collective and accumulative energies lead to convulsions in nature. And if harmony is restored in the universal man, nature will be restored to harmony. The discords in nature are produced by imperfect man. Having tasted of the tree of knowledge, he has learned to oppose his individual will to the order existing in nature, and he will continue to suffer the consequences of his sins until he recognizes the superiority of the all to that of the individual. By uniting his will with that of the whole, he ends the conflict of separate interests, and thereby restores the unity and harmony of the whole. Originally, eternal nature was an harmonious whole in which discords were created by a separation of interests among its constituents and an opposition of their individual wills to the will of the whole. In the beginning, the universal will radiating from the center became, so to say, reversed in the action of its surface rays, and thereby the sphere of illusions came into existence at the periphery sphere representing the visible world. But at the center there still exists the immeasurable power of the uniform law, where light penetrates through the clouds that surround the spiritual sun. These clouds constitute the world of illusions, and the action of this law can be perceived in every form of activity in all departments of nature. Plato wrote over the door of his academy, "Let no one enter here unless he is well versed in mathematics," and Pythagoras demanded the additional knowledge of music. They meant to say that he who wishes to investigate the hidden mysteries of nature must be able to draw logical conclusions from his observations and attune his soul to the divine harmonies of the universe.